Reuters has revealed Putin's conditions to end the war, but President Zelensky makes it clear he won't give up Donbas as he prepares for his trip to Washington. Meanwhile, the West is exploring new security guarantees. Donald Trump suggests a mechanism similar to NATO's Article 5, but outside the alliance. All the details coming up. But first, don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments on Trump and Putin's talks. Ukraine will not give up the Donbas to Russia. That's what President Volodymyr Zelensky told Donald Trump, according to Reuters, citing its sources. A source familiar with the talks says during the Alaska summit, Vladimir Putin offered to freeze most of the front lines if Ukraine gave up the entire Donbas. According to Donald Trump, that remains one of Moscow's key war aims. Sources say Volodymyr Zelensky rejected the demand. Donald Trump, however, said he agreed with Vladimir Putin that any peace deal should come without a ceasefire first, even though Ukraine and its European allies with US support had been asking for one. After the Alaska meeting, Trump stated that talks with Russian leader had progressed. He even urged Zelensky to make a deal with Moscow. According to reports, under the deal proposed by Russia, Kyiv would put all its troops from eastern Donetsk and Luhansk. In return, Moscow would agree to freeze the front lines in the south in Kherson and Zaporizhia. Russia would only be willing to return small areas in northern Sumy and northern eastern Kharkiv. Meanwhile, Putin is demanding more than territorial concessions from Ukraine. He wants Russian to become an official language and Russian Orthodox churches to operate freely in the country. Other demands include formal recognition of Russia's sovereignty over Crimea, a ban on Ukraine joining NATO, and at least a partial lifting of sanctions against Moscow. A three-way meeting between Trump, Putin, and Zelensky could take place as soon as August 22nd, CNN and Axios report citing sources. The US president mentioned August 22nd as a possible date for a three-way meeting with Putin and Zelensky during a phone call with the Ukrainian leader and allied leaders following the Alaska summit. At the same time, Putin's advisor Yuri Ushakov told Russian media that a three-way summit with Zelensky and Putin was not discussed in Alaska. Earlier, Donald Trump announced that the meeting would take place if his talks with Zelensky in Washington are successful. Ukraine backs the idea of three-way meeting, but if it doesn't happen, Volodymyr Zelensky urges new sanctions against Russia.
In my conversation with President Trump, I said that sanctions should be strengthened if there is no trilateral meeting or if Russia evades an honest end to the war. Sanctions are an effective tool. Security must be reliably and sustainably guaranteed with the participation of both Europe and the United States. All issues that are important to Ukraine must be discussed with Ukraine's participation, and no issues, including territorial ones, can be resolved without Ukraine.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has suggested Europe as a possible venue for a meeting between Putin, Trump, and Zelensky. The coalition of the willing is holding an urgent online meeting after the Trump-Putin talks in Alaska. The meeting is set for Sunday, August 17 via video conference. The meeting will be co-chaired by the leaders of the coalition of the willing, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. It comes ahead of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to Washington. According to Macron, the leaders will discuss the potential security guarantees for Ukraine.
Any lasting peace must be accompanied by unwavering security guarantees. I welcome, in this regard, the readiness of the United States to contribute. We will work on this with them and with all our partners in the coalition of the willing, with whom we will meet again soon to make concrete progress. It will also be essential to draw all the lessons from the past 30 years, in particular from Russia's well-established tendency not to honor its own commitments.
After talks with Donald Trump following the Alaska summit, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said the US could also be part of security guarantees for Ukraine.
And the good news is that America is ready to participate in such security guarantees and is not leaving it to the Europeans alone.
CNN reports, citing sources, that Trump and European allies discussed potential non-NATO Article 5 security guarantees for Ukraine, similar to NATO's mutual defense rules, but outside the alliance. Northern Baltic 8 ramps up arms for Ukraine after Alaska summit. Leaders of the Northern Baltic 8 said Putin cannot be trusted and pledged their support for Ukraine. They stressed that Russia is responsible for clear violations of international law and that its aggression and imperial ambitions are the main cause of the war.
We demand that Russia urgently returns children who have been abducted from occupied territories, as well as prisoners of war and civilian prisoners. We will continue to arm Ukraine and enhance Europe's defenses to deter further Russian aggression. As long as Russia continues its killing, we will continue to strengthen sanctions and wider economic measures to put pressure on Russia's war economy. We stand firm in our unwavering support for Ukraine's sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity.
Serbia protests continue, hundreds injured. Protests in Serbia are ongoing as supporters and opponents of President Alexander Vučić clash on the streets. On Saturday, August 16, demonstrations in the city of Valeva, about 100 kilometers southwest of Belgrade, fought with police and tried to set fire to the ruling party's office. Police used tear gas, several people were injured and 18 were arrested. Similar clashes took place in the capital Belgrade, where protests set trash containers on fire and police again used tear gas. The Interior Minister Ivica Dačić said most incidents happened in Belgrade, Novi Sad and Valeva. Around 4,000 people protested in Valeva and around 5,000 in Novi Sad. The day before, on August 15, clashes between Vučić supporters and opponents left at least 42 police officers injured across 30 cities, 26 of them in Belgrade. 37 protests were arrested. The protests began in November 2024 after a roof collapsed near a train station in Novi Sad, killing 16 people. Activists blame the government's carelessness and corruption. Protesters are demanding early parliamentary elections, which President Vučić refused to call. That's it for now. For latest updates, follow our new X account, War and Politics 24. The link is in the video description.